Welcome to another edition of the NCBI Podcast. I'm June Tinsley, Head of Communications and Advocacy with NCBI. And today I have David Ryan on the line to have a chat with me. And we're very welcome. David, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problems. And I'm looking forward to learn a bit more about yourself and your life. And I suppose just for the benefit of our listeners, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is David Ryan. I'm 48, I have to think there for a second. I'm originally from Kilkenny. I did go to school in St. Joseph's School in Grace Park Road. Finished there in 94.
Right.
I'm married with 3 children, and I'm a foster parent as well. So I've been living in Bettystown in County Meath for 14 years. And I'm studying social work in Trinity. I finished up working last year. As my eyesight deteriorated, it was time for a change, a fresh start. Studying social work in Trinity, it's interesting, it's challenging, and it has lots of obstacles to overcome, but getting there slowly.
And if I only just joined Trinity this year, or
no, I've started my second year, senior fresher.
Okay, excellent,
yes.
Excellent. And what's your experience of being a mature student been like?
It's very strange to be sitting in a class with 20-year-olds.
I'm sure.
I feel very old at times, but I'm lucky with the course that I'm doing. There's probably 15 mature students, so we kind of hang out together, which is a saving grace. College is good. It's interesting, learning a lot. I have to learn to ask for help. You won't receive it unless you ask. That's the first thing I had to learn.
Okay.
Everyone goes through it, as all the mature students, they all question whether they did the right thing going back to college, but everyone goes through that through certain parts of the year, especially when assignments and things are due.
Yes.
And when you're trying to balance it with family and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah. I will say the IT department in the college have been great support in helping out and getting things set up and showing me how to use technology. I hate computers. In my previous job, I would type something, print it, file it away, and hopefully didn't have to see another computer for the rest of the week. Well, the biggest thing I have to do is check my emails every day, which I could go months without looking at emails before I started.
It sounds like they're kind of trying to drag you into the 21st century a bit.
Yes, they definitely are. I'd be happy with a phone call or a text message, but emails, no. But suppose you have to adapt and get on with it. Everything is emails these days.
And are you receiving the any assistive technology aids that you need? Have you received that, or was that any hassle to get them or anything like that?
No, I'd say the college is very good that way. I'm probably very lucky that one of the guys here is very much connected with the NCBI. He seems to know all the IT people in the NCBI. And
Great.
If he hasn't got the answer, he says, leave it with me. And then the next day he sends an email with a solution to the problem, which is great. And I suppose it comes down to individuals. He's very into technology and helping people. So
I hope your lecturers are likewise open to making sure their presentations or whatever are accessible to you.
Yeah, some will email them. Problem reading overheads. That's the problem. Even when they're emailed to you, it's very hard to read overheads, especially with all the pictures and details on them.
Yeah.
But a lot of them will send a little printouts or email printouts of what the class is going to be and what they're covering, and they will have readings that you could do. The first couple of months, that was where it's challenging, is letting the lecturers know what you need, because sometimes they might photocopy a book,
yes,
a page, and there's no chance of reading it and no chance of the screen reader reading it. So they have adapted. This year, since I started back, we use Blackboard that has improved a lot in the last year. It's
And do you use Bookshare as well?
Bookshare, yes. Oh, I'd be lost without Bookshare, because if you go to the library, a lot of books could be gone,
Yes.
or they're not on ebook or whatever. So Bookshare is a saving grace. It's probably one of the best things that the NCBI have done. I have to say, it's so good. Like, there is times I can't get a book, but I have to say, I contact the library. They've always found a solution for me. So.
And I suppose for the benefit of our listeners, just to say that Bookshare, if you're not a member, is really Ireland's largest digital accessible library. So it's targeted really at third level students, but also secondary students. And there are some leisure reading materials on it as well. But basically all the catalogue is available in your preferred format. So it's
Yes.
very easy to download and to access in your preferred format. And tell us, David, what other services of NCBI have you availed of over the years?
The lab, I've contacted him a lot of times, especially with technology, phones, and I have to say they're always, with the phone, the last time I was in, they were able to show me an app for reading things out. They're out from menus, or a jar from the press that would read the back of the barcode and tell you what it is.
Yes.
And that they're small, they're simple little things, but they make a big difference.
True.
Then the accessibility. I'm an Android person. I know a lot of people are Apple. I can't change to Apple, and the accessibility on the Android I find very good. Maybe because I'm used to it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. The lab then with Jane in Navan, I would say, when I started having to use the cane, she was excellent in coming out, gone over the local routes, and just equipment and advice. I have to say, anytime I had to ring with an issue, she's been very good. If she couldn't answer the phone, she'll ring back within the day, and we'd find a solution to things.
Great. And in terms of ensuring that you have access to as much as you need, have you availed of any of our Vision Sports activities?
I haven't. I used to be into sports a lot with, at the time, Irish Blind Sports, with football and athletics. But since children came along, it's more or less, it's taking them to their sports.
Yes.
So I'd love to get back into sports, but just time.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean,
yeah,
now you're just on the sidelines yourself, cheering along.
I am on the sidelines, and unfortunately, I try to stay back from the sidelines because you usually get drafted into some job. I was coaching my son's football team there up to about 2 years ago, and one of the guys from Dublin used to slag me and say, "Meath football is in great hands. A blind man from Kilkenny coaching the underage." So.
Well, you can only just take that as a compliment. In fairness, I'm sure the team performed very well for you.
They did. And listen, on the age they were at, it was more about games and listening skills and listening to the coaches and that. But when you get them to the next level and the ball was going high in the sky, it was time for me to step aside.
Yeah, fair enough.
And let the professionals in.
And let someone else take over. That's fair enough. Yeah. Well, when the time is right for you, obviously you can join any of the Vision Sports activities that might interest you.
Oh, definitely. When I get back to it. Well, I am involved with we have a Sports for All with the local GA club. I help out coaching that. That'd be a team on a Saturday morning that would have, I think it's 18 athletes and in all different abilities, which is great because all of them have a sibling or a parent that's in the club, and now the kids feel like they're part of the club.
Great.
So, and that's good. I enjoy that, I have to say. And it's more or less about games. So it's my level of sport coaching.
And is it a GAA? Is it
sport? It's GAA, Sports for All.
Okay, interesting. I haven't come across that before. Is that available in most GAA clubs, or is it one that you set up yourself?
It was set up ourselves, and it was, I think Raheny has one, St. Colin Kilson, Bettystown. there's a few clubs that it's starting to grow, but it's
Right.
still at the early stages. But the GAA are getting behind it. And we did have a big day in Croke Park a few years ago where Harry and Meghan came along to watch.
Well, that's certainly a VIPs to have on the sidelines.
It was, and it kind of helped with the profile. So funding and numbers increased after that.
Oh, I'm sure. And to be fair, though, to the GAA, when they get behind something, they're very strong to champion it across the country.
They are. They do it very well. And if someone is in an area where the club doesn't do it, they're able to go to the next to neighbours club to do it. So it's very flexible.
Right. Great. And you mentioned earlier, David, that you're a foster parent as well.
We're fostering now 6, nearly going on 7 years.
And how many children have you had with you during that period?
We've had about 7 placements.
7.
And the placement could be anything from 2 weeks to the longest we had was 18 months.
Wow.
We only do placements for children that are at least 2 to 3 years younger than our youngest child. So
Okay.
my youngest is 10 now, so it's all around a 7-year-old would be the oldest.
Yes. And I suppose being a foster parent is just, I have nothing but admiration for foster parents because the emotional energy and love and support you provide to the children. And what was the motivation behind you wanting to be a foster parent?
I've always worked in care all my life, and so is my wife Alison. She brought it up a couple of years ago, and I think we spent at least a year talking about it, thinking about it. At the time, there was an interview she heard on the radio.
Yes.
Looking for social workers, and a foster parent were talking about it, and we kind of said, yeah. So after a year of thinking of the pros and cons, we said we'd make inquiries, and then we started the process. It took at least 18 months. It's not the easiest process to do. It's very tough. It's very challenging. And you will be asked questions that no one else in your life, even family, friends, would ask you. So
they're very intrusive questions.
Very. And that takes a bit of getting around. But the percentage of people seeing it through is very low. I think it's it could be anything between 10 to 6% would finish the whole process.
As low as that? Well, okay. Well, I suppose TUSLA is always on a recruitment drive for foster parents, and then there's the private companies as well that offer foster arrangements. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Did go with a few challenges over my site. The medical on it at the time thought that vision impaired people shouldn't be foster parents. And they had a list of reasons about it. You wouldn't be able to do this, you wouldn't be able to do that. So we challenged that. Because my wife could have been a foster parent without me being honest, but I said, no, we're doing it as a partnership.
Yes.
So I want to be passed. So that kind of slowed the whole process down. We challenged it, and then we had to go and speak to a foster board and to give her reasons why and how I can do X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
It took a while. It probably added an extra 8 months onto the whole process. But we got there in the end. So I will say, if anyone wants to do it, it will not be easy, and it will make it challenging over your side. And you can see why. You're taking a child in that could have a lot of challenging behaviours, sorry, and how are you going to cope with? But it's like raising my own 3 kids. I plan ahead. I have the house set up to suit me, the way I do things, and you just work things out.
I'm just curious to think that your own doctor who knows you and knows you're already a parent of 3 children.
This was the doctor from the fostering board.
Okay.
My local doctor was fine for it. When I went in, even from my eye consultant, he was all for it. He knows me for years and the work that I've done. So he wrote a letter to say that I was very capable of doing it.
And I'm hoping your family have found the process very rewarding, challenging at times.
I have to say it's been great. It's great for my kids. My kids are now 10, 12 and 13. And with the kids coming in that are younger than them, they have great empathy and time for them. That's why we wanted to keep it that way, because if they were the same age or older, they would be probably challenging over attention, over the same games.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And they wouldn't have as much patience with them when they come in. So they're great, and they have a great understanding about circumstances that children, and we wouldn't tell them everything. We water everything down that we let them know. But they have great patience and understanding that sometimes people are not as lucky as them, and
exactly.
They want to help.
Are they okay then when that individual ideally returns to their own biological family unit or moves on to another placement or anything like that?
Yeah, we've been blessed. 6 of the placements have all worked out really well.
Oh, brilliant! Well
done. They've gone back home, or they went to be adopted, and we still hear from them.
Great.
Last Christmas, the parents of two of the boys that we had came with Christmas presents for the kids and stuff, and they have a good relationship with them.
Great.
So, but when the placement, we had one that broke down, that is challenging for them, and you have to sit down and explain things for them to understand, and it takes time.
It does. So, yeah.
So we take a break in between each of them so that everyone is okay.
Well, and you're rightly so, just given the emotional attachments that people can forge, and just wanting to not compromise your own family unit as well, but wants to get the best out of the new member of your family. And as you say, it's just such an amazing thing to do that will benefit your children as well.
Yeah, and we have been blessed with majority of the cases. A lot of them is people think probably violence, drugs, where a lot of the cases that we had was where the mother got ill, was gone into hospital, daddy was struggling with work and balancing everything. So where the state stepped in just to give a hand.
Yes.
And we've been blessed with that's been a lot of our cases. So
great. Well, best of luck with it. As I said, it can be so rewarding. It really can. And have the individuals, the children, I'm sure that have been placed with you, have learned a lot from you around living with the vision impairment that they might never have encountered before.
Yeah, no, a lot of them children just take things as they see it, and that's it. There are no questions. It doesn't bother them. If they see the cane, they think it's something for Star Wars. So yeah, no, they're very good. As one child told me before, I'm the best person to play hide and seek with. So yeah, they always see it in a good light.
Yeah, that's right. And the cane is your superpower. It's great.
Yes,
absolutely great. Yeah. Love it. And I suppose just to conclude, David, what one piece of advice would you give to another person recently diagnosed with a sight loss condition?
Well, I've listened to one of the podcasts there a while back, and someone said blindness doesn't define them. And I have to say that's very true. It's only a small little aspect of what you're going through.
True.
And don't be frightened to ask for help. That's one thing I struggle with. I'm usually someone that's very good at helping people and offering help, but I don't ask. And that's the hardest thing I had to work on. And there's lots of good people in the NCBI and Fighting Blindness and other organizations that have the answers or the support that you might need. And a lot of the support, you only need a little bit. You might need it for a short period of time to find a solution to whatever you're going through. And then you move on. So ask. Don't be too...
It's nearly the same piece of advice for every walk of life. If anybody needs a bit of help, just ask for help, and it's not a sign of weakness, or it's not a sign of judgment or anything. It's the help is there.
And a lot of people are willing to help, but they're frightened. They don't want to come over and ask because they don't want to upset you, or they don't want to be feeling they might say the wrong thing. And there's a
Yes.
lot of people out there willing to help.
So just ask. That's
Yes.
the advice. Wise
Yeah,
words indeed.
it is, and I think if we all do that, and as you say, that affects everyone in society. Children, parents, workplaces, it doesn't matter. It's everyone.
True. And as always, for our listeners, if they wish to reach out for assistance and help, NCBI can help right across the country. The best way to access our services is through our website, ncbi.ie, or alternatively, jump onto our info line, which is 1800 911 250. But for now, David, I would just like to say thank you very much for taking your time, and lovely to have had a chat with you, and best luck with your future studies and your foster parenting. I hope it continues to be as productive and as rewarding, and best luck with everything.
Well, and thank you for all the good work you're all doing there.
Thank you.